Honorable Minister, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. Maybe you could share with us, in light of the theme, connecting the unconnected, how government looks to address issues of connectivity and data cost.
Thank you. We are very happy. Thank you very much for the question. We are very happy that as government we need to really be coming up with sound policies which will then be able to make sure that we bridge the digital divide. We are happy to say the President launched our broadband plan, which then is able to come up with the plan that we have in terms of coming up with how we are going to distribute broadband across the country. And in that view, we really are happy to say that we need to engage more so that we see which areas are lacking. We are also happy that the telcos companies are in this platform, where we are also seeing them also coming up with solutions to see what they need to do in terms of making sure that they've got efficient connectivity. We need reliable connectivity, and also the access of this connectivity is also essential. So therefore we're also putting in place to make sure that we go out there, we bid, even making sure that we construct base stations in the country. This is also within our broadband plan, and also to see which areas are lacking, come up with a map that will see everyone also getting connected. We have also tried to also reach out to the rural areas, where you've seen that even at times we're also coming up with a digital scale up, where we are also upskilling and also making sure that we train digital skills across the country. And also in the same time, we are also looking at how best we need to also work on us and looking at the data. This is an engagement process where right now we are engaging our telcos companies. We're also at the same time trying to look at all the major players which also contribute to the cost of data, where we are seeing us engaging with the Minister of Energy, us engaging with the Minister of Finance. This is very critical. Our president has said we need to engage the whole of government approach. And for us to make sure that we work together, it's a matter of us working together to look at ways that we can do. You see, at this conference, we're also engaging the telcos players, coming up with some policies. What is it that we need to do? Because we are a people-centric government, and our president has said it, that we're there to serve the people. So in that thrust, we need to make sure that we come up with sound policies, regulations, and also be able to create a conducive environment which sees us making sure that the consumers also have reliable, accessible, and also affordable connectivity coming to them.
Having addressed connectivity, Honourable Minister, could you extend to cost mitigation structures if at all they are available?
Good. What we are doing, like I said before, we are engaging. It's a matter of us engaging with all the cost drivers. This is what is very critical. We need to make sure, we need to look at all the cost structure to say what is it, how do we then come up with all the costs that will also make sure that we get data. Of course, we've also got some costs which entail issues to do with energy, issues to do with tax. And for me, I'm saying what is important is for us to look at this and be able to engage. Engagement is what is key right now, and we need to have a win-win situation, which will see us as government also coming up with a consumer-centric approach, which will also see us moving forward and agreeing to what we want. To also mitigate in terms of the cost structures. And I think this is what we're doing. We've already started engaging the Minister of Energy. We've also engaged the Minister of Finance. And I think this is quite critical, where we engage and see what we need. Energy are being distributed or being availed in certain areas. I think it's important. Definitely, the reason why I'm saying certain areas is, there's some areas we should very much know that they very much rely on connectivity, and they need to be able to function. So on those ones, for starters, that is where we start. And then be able, of course, in the long term, be able to make sure we roll out a plan that encompasses everyone in the same thrust of leaving no one in no place behind. And again, the issue that we also need to do is for us to look at we need to go green. We need to look at what are the alternative ways of us to make sure that we provide for energy, especially for our base stations. Even if it means us having solarized base stations, that's the way to go. I think that is what we need to do. But not only looking at base stations, we also need to look at other innovative ways. What is it that needs to be done in terms of connectivity? Do we really need to be basing very much on base stations, or maybe now we need to engage other modern technologies that we also need to rob in? But it's a matter of us working together with our telcos players. This is not a situation whereby we come up and say this is what one has to do, but it's engagement. So for me, the thrust that our president has, where we need to engage, this is the stage that we're at right now. We need to engage and be able to communicate to to the consumers when we've got a position which is quite clear, which makes everyone get to a win-win situation. And I think in that way we would have done well. I spoke about July in 2024 when I was saying now we're looking at a plan whereby we are giving ourselves timelines to say by July 2024 we should need to have come up with a sound solution which will see us saying this is what we have to do. We've given ourselves at least 3 months for us to work towards that, to see what are the alternative sources, what do we need to do, what do telcos players need to do. That's why you see today we've even engaged as well. We're having a meeting at 4 o'clock where we need to really be able to come up and shape the industry. It's not a matter of us just saying you need to do this, you need to do that. Any policy has to have stakeholders. We need to have an engagement that stakeholders also need to, and the stakeholders involve the citizens of Zimbabwe, involves even the operators and indeed the regulator and also the ministry. So all to the four of us, and we need to sit down and be able to come up with a solution which is also a win-win situation for everyone. And I want to assure the people of Zimbabwe that we are working towards this, and we're also saying our president has been very clear. You heard him speak about it even when we were in Somabula, where we're launching our 3 ICT policies. He says we are a consumer-centric government, we're a people-centric government, and this is exactly what we need to do. And we're working towards this so that at least we address all the concerns concerning data, and I think we would have done well for the people of Zimbabwe.
Right, from a government perspective, the elephant in the room has also been the taxation. Various operators are also crying and saying that there's a lot of taxation that is happening, especially within the mobile network operators and the fixed ISPs. Are we going to be having some sort of rebates, reduced taxation, any ways we are going to see that at least the mobile network operators and the service providers, they are not as heavily taxed as they are currently?
About heavily taxed, I cannot comment on that, but I can talk about us engaging the Minister of Finance on certain taxes, like for example the device taxes. You understand? But you see, it's a culmination of a lot of things, and also even if you look at the ecosystem, it involves infrastructure, it involves data, it also involves devices, and and also even the policies. So for me, I'm saying yes, it's a matter of us engaging and be able to speak with the Minister of Finance and see where we can then be able to come up with a win-win situation. We need to speak with them and say yes, because we need to create that environment which will also see us coming up with policies that would see everyone also feeling at least that there it is. So we're engaging, and we're not saying, for me to say they're high, it's you saying it. I'm not saying that, and I will not be able to say that. All we need to do is to engage in line with what the telcos operators are saying, because they're saying we need to engage with the Minister of Finance, and we are also leading that process to engage the Minister of Finance and also to be able to also engage the Minister of Energy. I think those are the 2 critical ministries for now that we need to engage in the process of us coming up with effective, efficient, and affordable data. Thank you.